Hey everyone, my name is Alex Bialy. This is my partner and good friend, Reese Williams. We are the co-founders of Domestique, a revenue operations consulting agency out of Boulder and Denver, Colorado. We have been asked by different clients and mentors and advisors to put together this go-to-market masterclass on the different principles around revenue operations that we practice with our clients. For those of you that didn't see the first one, we did a session kind of defining what is revenue operations, and we get oddly opinionated in that session. One of the things we've done is we've surveyed our customers, our prospects, our networks, and essentially said, what are the major problems that you're dealing with? And hands down, the number one go-to-market problem that everybody is struggling with right now is getting meaningful insights out of their data. So today's session is entirely around how to draw meaningful insights from the data available to you. So we're going to provide a few different examples. We're going to talk through board reporting, go-to-market dashboarding, sales forecasting, and marketing attribution. Before we dive in, we can do a little, quick overview of who we are and why you should be listening to us. Reese and I have actually worked together at a few different companies. We've had a couple successful exits and a couple not so successful exits. But we are not the fancy executives that have come in over the top, and we are the operators that have been in the trenches actually doing this work. So when you hear me ranting about marketing attribution models, it's not coming from the chief marketing officer perspective. It's coming from the perspective of being the guy that has actually had to go in and get this thing built. And Reese is the same way. Reese, you want to give a little intro?
Great to see everybody again. We are clearly not the fancy individuals, as you can tell by our headshots and the wind that was clearly blowing our hair during that day. Alex, as he mentioned, his expertise is more on the marketing ops. Mine is on the RevOps. So the good news is we have that healthy tension. We think defines good RevOps.
Sometimes it's not so healthy, but yes, we do have healthy tension. Cool. Reese, you want to give a brief overview of kind of how we define revenue operations so that everybody's grounded?
Yeah, so I'm going to run through this quickly. If you have more questions, definitely check out the first Masterclass series. We do a very deep dive into this. So this is how we define revenue operations. A couple of things here. One, it's across the entire customer journey. So truly, it's not just marketing and sales, but it's product marketing, sales, PSCS, all in alignment with finance. Then we think there are 5 work streams, and the order is important. So planning, this is your strategy. What is your go-to-market strategy? Process, what is the day-to-day aspects out of your strategy? So how does a BDR take a phone call? How do you hand off a close-won opportunity from sales to CS? Tooling, your entire tech stack that touches the customer journey. It should be set up based upon strategy and process. Data, which we're going to talk a lot about today, that comes out of your tech stack. And the last one is enablement. So data highlights the hotspots, and you want to point enablement at it. We think of enablement as skills, tools, and market or competition. The things you'll see there on the upper right-hand side, we tend to see these as the 5 biggest problems that we see on a general basis. A lot of times you can see sub-problems grouped underneath them, but at a high level, it's your ICP and segmentation, so very kind of top of the funnel. Lack of demand, how's it, you're not getting enough demand in the funnel. Funnel conversion, you're not converting it all the way through, not only in kind of your marketing and sales funnel, but also your CS funnel. Net effective retention rate, and then data insights, which we're going to chat more about today.
Cool. Thanks, Reese. Okay, data and insights. Why is this so hard, right? You have so much data available to you, and yet you can't look around corners. Your forecasting's not accurate. You're not sure where to spend your marketing dollars. What's going on? It doesn't make sense. We've never had more data available to us. So we're going to talk through what the desired end state is, why we're struggling to get there, and how to get there. The desired end state here, just to be clear, is a set of cross-functional and aligned dashboards and reporting mechanisms that people trust, that actually help you look around corners. The reason this is hard is your data is coming from everywhere. This is just an example go-to-market impact stack that we come across all the time. It's complicated. It's okay that it's complicated, but it means that you need to get the basics and the fundamentals of data and insights right, and most people don't. One of the most common requests and problem statements that we get from either a board member or a CEO or a different executive is, hey, I need you to come in and give me a new dashboard or fix my reporting. And without even seeing the reporting yet, a flippant little answer we'd like to give is, I would bet serious money, or I would bet Reese's money, that your reporting has nothing to do, or your problem with your reporting has nothing to do with your reporting. It's about the underlying data that is flowing into it. So how's your data integrity? Do you have SOPs around when people update it? So I just want to make that point clear. The issue with your reporting might not actually be with your reporting itself. Reese, you want to talk us through some of the reporting building blocks?
Yeah. So what's in it? Well, first off, I need you to take some of my money and finish painting the walls, as you guys can see here. But what's interesting is Alex's point is spot on. These are some of the 5 what we classify as fundamental building blocks to any good data reporting. So typically when we get to ask that question that Alex mentioned, we immediately follow up with questions about, as Alex mentioned, is like, all right, tell us, show us, your documented definition of what is data. This sounds super basic, but you would be surprised how few companies actually have written down. And when we say documented, if it's not written down, it doesn't exist. But like, what is an MQL? And if you ask 5 different people, you tend to get 5 different answers. And if you give 5 different answers, that means you don't actually know what an MQL is. Because what happens is somebody comes into a meeting and says, oh, we've done 1,000 MQLs, and somebody else comes in and says, well, I think it's only 800 because I pulled it this way because this is my definition. It's like, well, I pulled it this way. Data enrichment, right? So yeah, are you enriching it through a third party like ZoomInfo? How are you managing it throughout the system? Data integrity. So data integrity, this is your kind of your documented rules of engagement / SOPs around how is the team managing stuff, right? When you create a new account, where's a BDR going to create the account and adding records? Are they just Googling it? Are they going into a ZoomInfo or a DMB? As the account gets updated over time, who updates it, who's allowed to update it, all that type of good stuff. System of record. This is, what is the system record that you're pulling data from? Is it just your CRM? Is it your CRM, but, oh, hey, marketing also pulls stuff out of the marketing attribution. Oh, and by the way, CS pulls stuff out of their, their gain side or their customer engagement. Oh, and then we have a data and a BI team, and they're pulling stuff. So what is the system of record that the entire company can get aligned around? And then the last being your source of truth reports. So if I said, hey, Alex, you're on the marketing side, pull me a list of all MQLs generated or all marketing source pipeline. The list that he would pull is the same list I would pull, is the same list that Susie Q or John, Joe Schmo would pull, and everybody has access to that list.
Yeah. It's harder than it sounds to get the basics right, but if you're not getting this right, I don't care how cool your dashboard looks, it's not going to work. Okay, we're going to speed through this because everyone's time here is valuable. We're going to talk through a few examples. The first one is board reporting.
So this is everybody's favorite activity on a quarterly basis. Typically the way it goes, Alex and I both built a lot of board reports is, oh shit, we're 2.5, 3 weeks out. Everybody stop what you're doing from running the company and pull a bunch of data. And, oh, Alex, your data isn't lining up to so-and-so's data. So we got to spend all this time in Excel and trying to get it aligned. Your true desired end state here is a set of reports that you're actually running the business with. And this is very important. We're going to talk more about this, but you're actually pulling the business with that you can easily pull. Everybody's got access to. It flies at the right altitude for the board. You can dump it into your board report and you can easily call out the insights, because here's the dirty little secret that I think everybody knows. The vast majority of board members are looking at the board deck as the plane is landing into whatever city they're at. So like they need to be able to easily look at a board report and say, oh, okay, hey, based upon these 3 charts here, and then the call outs on the left-hand side, I know the 2 or 3 biggest takeaways from here is X. And then if they have additional questions, it's easy to dive into it because you have those on-demand ready reports. So why is this really challenging? We know the vast majority of companies are not actually pulling reports that they're running the business with for the board. And it's a massive pain in the ass. We all know this. I think the vast majority of us have spent a lot of time in this. So what are some things you can kind of do as you kind of think about this? So a couple of different things here that we want to highlight. So first, data, we're big believers in data has an altitude that you fly at. Meaning when Alex and I, particularly when we've been in the operator seats, when we're having a conversation, we're pulling data for ourselves. We're typically flying at that, 6,000 foot level. We're in the trenches, in the weeds of like, hey, why is this happening? Alex is getting in deep into attribution. I'm like, oh, hey, let's look at sales velocity on the sales team, things like that. Typically, boards don't care about that. They want the high level. So what? Hey, if we're not getting enough demand, why is that? Things like that. So what is the right altitude the reports need to fly at? Second big call out here, and you see it, we've kind of simplified on this chart, but the reports that, your business development team, your account executives, the attribution reports, all of those reports should flow up, right? So it should be the same set of reports. So whatever the marketing team is looking at, whether it's, 6,000 feet or 60,000 feet, it's just an easy tweak to the report. And what I mean by that is it's a live report they can easily take and dump into that board reporting. So again, you're running the business based upon how you're reporting up to the board.
Yeah.
The last comment we'll make here is sometimes you get requests from boards. It's like, oh, hey, Alex, go show me the number of leads that we've seen when you saw a unicorn, a leprechaun riding a unicorn. And sometimes you don't need to pull every request for the board because you need to kind of pull the data that makes sense for how you're running the business.
Yeah, I love that. Hard to live by, but I love that. Okay, now we're going to talk through go-to-market dashboarding, which fuels that board reporting. So the desired end state for your go-to-market dashboarding is a one dashboard that your go-to-market teams run the business on, which means, tactically speaking, the head of marketing, the head of sales, the head of CS agree that open pipeline number is actually the open pipeline number, and that MQL number is actually the MQL number, right? Getting everybody aligned on a set of definitions to agree, yep, we've sourced 1,000 MQ, or we've created 1,000 MQLs, which have converted at X% rate into Y amount of demos. Getting people to just agree on that removes so much of friction and creates more cross-functional alignment just by getting everybody singing from the same machine music. This is hard because if you're the head of marketing, you've got a report over here that makes your MQL number look great. If you're the head of sales, you've got a different MQL report that shows that the MQLs are crap.
That's because the vast majority of MQLs are crap. So
okay, well, that's why race is on the sales side. This is not a mistake. This is not the same slide. We didn't, yes, I am a little lazy, so I did just duplicate the slide. But the reason we're showing this slide again is we think it's so important to say, if you want aligned cross-functional go-to-market dashboarding, you need to have dashboarding that is aligned across every team. What I mean specifically is your head of marketing should be making marketing investment decisions based on the same reports that your head of demand gen and your head of content are using to actually run their teams. A better example on the sales side is your BDRs, your AEs should be running their day-to-day based on the same reports that flow up into the sales dashboard. Those reports, those insights on the sales dashboard should be the same ones that flow up to the go-to-market dashboard. And that should fuel the board reporting, so that by the time you get to the board reporting, everybody's already aligned. Everybody knows the definition of a demo, how many demos we've done, the quality of those demos, why they're up, why they're down. Okay, sales forecasting.
All right, everybody's favorite topic. So desired end state in sales forecasting. You have a consistent set of forecasts and your accuracy is greater than 90% at the beginning of a quarter. What do I mean by that? So if you're forecasting $1 million, you would be within, call it, 900K to 1.1 million, either side of things. The consistency needs to be across all your AEs, the different segments you have, whether hunters or farmers, and different geos. You need to have the greater consistency. So why is it a challenge to oftentimes drive consistency? We typically see 4 major reasons. First, oftentimes your sales team isn't speaking the same language. They have different ideas of what is a stage 1, different things like that. Second, you have different people approach forecasting differently. So if you're not a golfer, sandbagging is a famous term for being super conservative. Essentially what you say is like, oh no, I'm only going to close $1 this year. And then you come in and close $1 million. Happy years is the reverse of that, of like, hey, I'm going to close $1 million. Every deal's coming in. Amazon's going to close in the next week, even though we're not in red lines yet. And you end up closing $1, right? So it's the reverse of that. Third, we tend to see kind of different processes, whether you're hunters or farmers. What may be going on the sales side may be vastly different than what's going on the expansion side. Having consistency in that. The last thing is inconsistent forecasting cadence. We'll talk more about this here in just a second. So what are some of the things you can do to address these issues? First, stage advancement criteria. What stage advancement criteria is a clearly documented, and again, has to be written down, set of definitions around what is involved in each and every stage and the key activities that need to happen. We're big believers in tying stage advancement criteria to opportunity frameworks like a Medic, BANT, Spiced, whatever it is. You then want to take this and codify it inside of your CRM. What this allows you to do is get everybody speaking the same shading music. Because then, rep 1 versus rep 27, if they have a stage 2 opportunity, they're all doing the exact same activities in a stage 2 opportunity. I promise you to increase your forecasting accuracy and increase stage conversion rates. Second thing you can do, and this is really a leading indicator for future sales, is set up some sort of demand forecasting process. We love to call this a demand council. Essentially what it is a week over week look at key pipeline metrics. And the whole goal is to identify hotspots and to identify things you can do about this. Because if you think about it, if you have a 6-month sales cycle and all of a sudden you're just purely dependent upon just the sales forecasting and you're not looking at the demand ahead of time, there's not a lot you can do once you get into the quarter. This, however, is your leading indicator because what you're doing in this meeting allows you to set yourself up for success in future sales quarters. The third thing is setting up a consistent forecasting cadence. And so what we mean by this is not only a consistent meeting where AEs forecast up, commit in best case to a sales leader, and then the sales leader up to the executive team, but having that meeting where AEs are then responsible for documenting it. So they update all their opportunities in advance, update, commit, best case, and they have to stand up in front of their peers and be held accountable. What this allows you to do is start to understand who are your sandbaggers, who are your happiers, but it also drives consistency and accountability. And if you don't have a consistent forecasting cadence, you should set this up ASAP.
And this is hands down the easiest thing that you can set up and might have one of the biggest impacts. Okay, now everybody's least favorite topic, marketing attribution. So like I said earlier, the hands down the most common mistake that we see just across the board, companies of different maturity sizes make when it comes to designing the attribution model or even interpreting the attribution model is they use it first and foremost as a way to assign credit. All they're asking is, who sourced that deal? Was it marketing or was it sales? And the answer is, in B2B tech SaaS, it's usually a little bit of both, right? It depends on the answer, or it depends on the question you're asking. Are you asking a question of, well, where did this lead come from? Are you asking what was the last touch before that lead became an MQL? Are you asking what were the activities that drove that lead to convert to a demo? Are you asking once the demo happened, how did that demo convert into pipeline? Are you asking what were the key activities that happened in between a deal getting created and then getting closed. Those are all different answers. Those are all the right questions, though. And so when you think about building your attribution model, build it from the perspective of trying to answer these questions that help you make smarter investments. A little challenge for you to kind of know if you can really trust your attribution model is if you went and asked marketing, your head of marketing, your demand gen manager, whoever, if you had an extra $100,000 to spend on campaigns next quarter, how much pipeline would you create and when? Do you think they could give you an accurate answer? If the answer is no, or if you're questioning it, I highly recommend taking a look at your attribution model. One of the primary recommendations we make to all of our portfolio companies and just all the companies that we've ever worked at when you're working on your attribution model is actually something that's separate from attribution. It's your life cycle stages. Your life cycle stages are essentially your stage advancement criteria, but across the entire customer journey. It's your customer journey codified. So this defines, is this a subscriber, a lead, an MQL? Is this a pipeline? Is this a customer? The reason we recommend you hunker down on this and codify it, build this out, make it automated, trust it, is because you can then build an attribution ecosystem around this to say, where did I get my leads from? Where did I get my MQLs from? What's sourcing my demos? What's sourcing my pipeline? Those are all different questions. They're all the right questions, but they're different questions. These are a few different charts that we like to put together for all of our clients that show the output of an attribution model that's working well. We're able to answer, where's my traffic coming from? What are the top sources and campaigns for lead generation? What are the top sources and campaigns for MQLs? What is sourcing my pipeline? And where is diminishing returns going to come into effect here, right? Oftentimes, the correct answer is actually we shouldn't spend more money on this campaign or on this channel because we're going to start to lose money. So the reason I'm showing the three different charts here and not just the one is because you're not going to answer the attribution question with one field or one report or one chart, right? You need to have this ecosystem of attribution insights that allow you to look around those corners and make smarter investments. Okay.
You guys should see the attribution model Alex is set up for where to go to dinner at night. So,
yeah, well, we'll see. Okay, that's it, everybody. We ran through that quickly. We've got a tight schedule. You guys have a tight schedule. I hope this was valuable. If you have any questions, if you have any critiques, if you want to kind of debate anything you saw, or if you just want help with it, we're more than happy to jump on the phone, walk you through anything. We love geeking out about this stuff. So as always, we appreciate the time, and yeah, would love to hear from you. Love to hear what you think. Would love to hear what you're working on. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.